What's going on, everyone? I'm Magically Average. That over there is Frankfurter. This is BakaBites, and today we are talking about English manga yet again, but specifically all the new opportunities for English manga readers. That's right, we have some exciting news coming out from Viz that Viz is now releasing a new program called, non-originally, Viz Originals One-Shots. You think they'd come up with a creative title, but nope. Just Viz Originals
They nailed it.
One-Shots. I mean, it's very to the point, at least. It's not hidden behind any smoke and mirrors. So,
Yeah.
Kudos on that
Which
piece.
part of it is, but part of it isn't.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But this is exciting news for a number of reasons. One, it's giving English mangaka the opportunity to share their series and upcoming, it kind of highlight upcoming creators in a large platform like Viz. And it's actually, the program is created by the former editor-in-chief for Shonen Jump, one Hisashi Sasaki, who is infamous for putting on a number of series in the Shonen Jump magazine for quite some time. I think over 20 years experience in manga at a high level too. And this program, as stated in the article that we're going through right now, says that it is offering aspiring mangaka the opportunity to showcase their talent and passion for the art form that has touched the lives of readers all around the world. And the video goes through a little bit more detail in terms of what it involves and, what the purpose behind it was. But basically, it's geared towards creators outside of Japan who are looking to have an opportunity to just get their series out there, right? Just their one shot out there for readers to see and have the potential of maybe going further, whether it's just a weekly serialization in a magazine or if it's physical releases or something even beyond that, like an anime adaptation or whatever. This is an exciting opportunity for creators all around the world. I think it's mainly geared towards English creators. But certainly I don't think there's too much limitation in terms of who can actually apply for this program. There's 4 series already out. There is Cinematic Certitude, Ancient Melody, Skin and Bone, and The Stranger. So if you see these on the Viz site, these are part of the new Viz Originals One-Shots program.
Yeah, which honestly, I haven't read any of them yet. I really haven't had the time. In fact, I only this morning kind of caught up on my weekly Shonen Jump from Sundays. But with this all happening and coming out, I kind of thought of a series that Viz seemingly released and put a small amount of marketing on the Viz app for, and then just not necessarily dropped, but there's no status as to when another chapter's coming out. The last one was in February. And I'm wondering if this was like a test run for it, in which it was a series called Status Royale. There's only 9 chapters out. They actually released a volume 1 for it, but it was a manga about esports. And it was actually semi-pretty good. But the reason why I wonder if it was like part of a test run of this program is because it doesn't read right to left like traditional manga. It reads left to right.
Oh.
Like the author is Ruju, I believe, Ruxu. So I'm wondering, I don't know if that was it's obviously, it could be somebody's name, but it's more than likely a pen name.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. I wonder if they just self-published this and was just let's see how this does. It did pretty okay, and they're like, let's do more of this.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's one of the things that I wonder if this was just a test run for it, and then they're like, okay, that series did well. English-speaking creators can make good manga.
Yeah.
Let's just throw this out there, try it for a bit, and see what happens.
Well, there was also, I can't remember if this was on Suisha's or Kodansha's, but there was the I don't even think it was a competition. It was basically fan submission of their own creations, and if they were read a certain amount or voted up a certain amount, they could get picked up by whatever parent company was managing it.
That was Suisha on Manga Plus. They would have monthly rankings, so you could upload whatever you wanted. Assuming I think it was 3 chapters. This happened mid last year, like about a year ago
Yeah.
from now. But like creators could just throw up whatever that not throw up, but they could they can upload whatever series that they had, and it would be on the internet for people to see. And month by month, they would do rankings of like, okay, this series is like, based on votes, this is bronze, silver, and then gold. And if it got gold once or a handful of times, they may have tried to serialize it. I'm not too entirely sure about that.
That one was
a
weird though.
program.
Yeah, that one was weird though too because it didn't get a lot of acknowledgement, I guess, from the community. It was kind of like a quiet announcement where, but I think that's also due to the fact that it was community driven, right? Like the Viz Originals One-Shot program is like, I don't want to say industry driven, but for lack of a better terminology, I guess it is technically that, because it is Viz, an extremely large, publisher of manga, right? Coming out and saying, hey, we understand that the market is tough to get into as an aspiring mangaka because everything normally originates from Japan. Like 99% of the series coming that you read, like that are coming out, are from Japanese mangakas, right? It's like that's the industry is born and raised there. This is an opportunity to enter into the market in a kind of a streamlined fashion, whereby you have Viz being like your custodian essentially to just help you carry you along into the manga market. So it is a very far departure from what Suisha was doing with the, hey, if you're a fan of and you have your own creations or whatnot, you can upload it and then have the community vote on it, and then depending on the feedback and the reviews that you get, we might do something with it. Who knows? Like that's heavy work.
I pulled it up so we have it and we're not just talking out our asses. So it is a monthly awards for manga creators. The first of every month is when the new month starts. Obviously speaking, what's it called? The deadline is at the end of the month, obviously, and then the second of the next month is when the rankings start being displayed. The 7th is when the rankings and selection of winners starts. And then on the second month after your submission, that's when the winners are announced. The winners do get a prize, Creators Award. I'm not sure what that is. Prize money, you get 30,000 yen. Bronze Award, you get 100,000 yen plus publication on Manga Plus. Silver Award is publication on Manga Plus 300,000 yen. And then the Gold Award is publication on Manga Plus and Jump Plus, so their magazine, plus 1,000,000 yen. So it was kind of like...
1,000,000 yen?
Yes, 1,000,000 yen.
Holy crap, that's like $10,000.
Yeah. And they were doing this monthly.
That's nothing to shy away from.
I shouldn't say were, they are.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one is more so, I feel like, competition rather than this is like,
yeah,
hey, you want to get your work out there, you want to be published, you want to actually, build a series or build a one-shot repertoire.
And I think, again, the major difference in my mind, too, is that on the Suisha program is not directed towards international creators, right? It's still mainly driven within like Japan. It's like it's for up and coming new creators in Japan primarily. I mean, like it's certainly not, I don't think it's restricted to just Japan. I don't think their terms say anything like that, because I think the announcement came out and it was like anyone that's on there can. There wasn't any limitations there, I believe. But like for the Viz Originals One-Shot program, that is directed towards creators around the world, as the article says, right? Like this is the program from the editor-in-chief, Hisashi Sasaki. Like this is his plan to branch out further to get creators from all over the world into what is predominantly a Japanese dominated industry from the creation side and publication side. So
I don't think that there was actual limitation on English or Japanese creators for Suisha, but I'm pretty sure it is mainly for the Japanese audience. This could just be because it is Manga Plus, like, hey, it is just for Manga Plus, like it is for the English readers. Oh, here we go. I clicked into something. They have one that is for English and Spanish.
There you go.
So it's per whatever language you're in.
Like language, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not it's still open, but less so directed towards the international creators, right? It's still primarily driven by many of the Japanese creators, which is understandable, yeah. But I think that the Viz program is a departure from that in the sense that they are targeting creators outside of Japan to see, like, to basically just find an entry point into manga, publication. And it's not a guarantee, right? Like they're not saying like, yes, this is your way, easy shot in to start getting your series publicized and in stores. You'll be known throughout the world. Like this is just a stepping stone basically to move your career forward.
And even then, this is also this is still going to be something that's highly competitive.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to be at the top of the top of the top of your game if you are a creator in that sphere to even be really considered. Like you have to have good story, good characters, good outline, good art, etc., etc. Like everything has to be top tier. You cannot be lacking in anything, otherwise they'll just be like, well, this is good and this is good, but these other things weren't good, so we're just not.
Right.
It's like they're not here to foster you as if you're already under their umbrella. This is a chance for somebody who has the stuff that is just undiscovered.
Yep, exactly. On the flip side, though, something that we learned about through one of our followers on our socials is that there was an initiative done prior, actually over 10 years ago, by one Tokyopop, and had the same image in mind of creating a new market of original English series, having a way for creators outside of Japan to get into the market. And what happened was a total and complete failure. And so we have an article from the Anime Herald written by Priya Sridhar on the topic of the Tokyopop original English manga debacle, we'll say. Really quick synopsis of it. Basically, Tokyopop made a program back in 2002 where they basically offered, it was called Rising Stars of Manga, and it was a talent competition, kind of in the similar vein to what Swish is doing right now. But again, it was directed primarily towards English writers specifically. So individuals who were creating series already in English, original English series, to be adapted into manga. And this was something where, they would be judged. If they passed, they could be printed in an anthology of manga. They could also do 3-part series books printed by Tokyopop. And it could even go even further. They mentioned, there's the possibility that it could become serialized. It could even, be turned into some sort of film production of some sort. Like, the opportunities were limitless in terms of what could become of this program for the creators.
That sounds too good to be true.
Oh, and it was. It in fact was. So the big issues with this, as I read through the article and did some further digging as well, I chuckle because I'm a lawyer by trade, and so reading this just made me laugh. But the real issues came with their contracting, and Tokyopop apparently wanted to be the cool, fun uncle when it came to how you want a contract. So they didn't call them contracts; they called them packs. Like you made a pact with them. Like
You
this
want a
is
blood
like,
pact.
I mean, it kind of felt like that. Like it was like
You cut your hand and then we'll shake on it, boy.
Yeah. Tokyo's Pop's blood pact was more like, okay, you slit your throat first, and then I'll do. Oh, you're dead. Oh no, that's a shame.
All your shit. It's
Oh
mine.
no, yeah, I'm just gonna take all your stuff now.
Oh, it's mine now.
So yeah, as I'm showing it on our screen right now, I'll zoom in for all of our viewers real quick on YouTube. But it says here, an agreement to have some serious fun together was something that was shared with the individuals that were a part of the competition, and it reads that this pact is your contract. You'll notice this doesn't look like your everyday ordinary contract filled with a bunch of mumbo jumbo and boilerplate language, which as a lawyer, I look for that stuff always. I'm like, it needs mumbo jumbo and boilerplate. Like that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it all. And I was like, you know what? I bet there still is some mumbo jumbo and boilerplate. And sure as shit, read down a little bit further until their moral rights and credit section, in which they say that you get credit for your creation, and we want you to work with Tokyopop on changes. But, and reading directly from Tokyopop's pact, we, Tokyopop, want to do so under the terms in this pact instead of under, they refer to the mortal rights as this fancy French idea, which it's not, but it's fine. So they say, in order for us to adapt the manga pilot for different media and to determine how we should include your credit in tough situations, you agree to give up any moral rights you might have. Basically, the credit to your creation. So what this says is that, hey, creator, we obviously want to acknowledge your hard work and dedication in creating this pilot series for us. Like submitting it to the competition, making it this far. It's wonderful because it wasn't for everyone that was doing the competition. It was only for people that passed through like the first round of judges and could actually be serialized or at least created or published as a one-shot. So they're like, all right, now you have to agree to this pact. And we want to give you credit, but if there are any changes, if we were ever to adapt it into like, I don't know, say like an anime, not that you would want us to, I don't know, but just saying if we did, you would not have any rights to it. Anyway. And yeah, that's a big red flag.
Super just scummy type bullshit that reminds me of like Parks and Rec type evil, in which it was the the episode where I forget the tech company comes into town and they decide that in like a clause in an addendum in a like fine print on another like clause, they could use your data to basically, or like use your like snooping on your devices in order to like advertise to you directly to you. And it's just something super scummy but really funny in the show. But it's a show, it's funny, it's supposed to be. This not so much. It's very, very scummy.
And it's more deceiving too, because they present this as like this is a partnership, this is cool, we want to be on equal terms, we want to be on the common ground, we're not trying to sneak anything past you, we want to be upfront. But how they write it is like, we don't want to have you go through all of the rigmarole of making like tough decisions when it comes to like, editing certain things once it becomes published, or, figuring out like the title card or like the cover or anything, or God forbid if it does get an anime, like we don't want to have you go through the grueling work of getting it adapted. So you just agreed to give us those rights and we'll handle it for you. That's how it's presented.
Yeah.
But, in layman's terms, you're technically just giving Tokyopop the ability to use your work however they want, and you really don't have any say to it. That also means, and this is where, again, the level of scumminess just kind of keeps going up because it's not clear, it's more implied. That means, like, if your series was published or serialized and it were to be canceled, or let's say Tokyopop goes under, right? Files for bankruptcy, something bad happens. You can't do anything with that now. Tokyopop owns it. So like if you're 7 chapters deep, you've got like 30 planned, and Tokyopop goes, not looking too hot, we're going to have to drop your series, sorry. And you're like, okay, it was a good run, I'm going to write it independently now. Nope. You have no right to do so. They have your quote unquote moral right to the series that you created. So
and this makes me upset and also hopeful, because there's a series on not Viz but Shonen Jump that just got the axe, and I'm like, I really want them to continue it off of Shonen Jump, but God knows that there's a clause in their contract that they can't continue it, and it makes me big sads.
We talked about this before in another episode, but the randomness by which series are cut. And again, we don't get the full picture normally, right? We hear it secondhand. Like, I think the only series that comes to mind where we really got like something from the author themselves about it was the Guild of the Red Hood, which got axed
Great.
like at like the part where they were finally like getting into it, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is gonna be great, and it just got cut. I think if I remember correctly from the stories, because it was quite some time ago that it
it
got
got very
canceled.
meta.
Yeah, no, like the author came out and was like I'm just gonna lay it out there for you. Like
Yeah,
here's
not great.
here's the situation. Like
Yeah,
that
they
level of
did it.
transparency we don't normally get. So like when things get cut, like we were talking about a recent one, Ginka and Gluna, like when things get cut like that, we don't really know it. We don't know if it was something where like the author couldn't keep up with like, you know, the weekly production of it. We don't know if it was just, hey, domestic reviews, by domestic we mean Japan, right? Domestic reviews aren't good, so we're gonna have to cut it for something else. Like we have something else in the works that is we feel is a little bit stronger. Like we don't know if it's internal competition, what, like completely clueless. So that having like that information for the Guild of the Red Hood was like, ooh, that's a little shocking. Like we don't get the kind of the inside scoop this way. So yeah, for like Greens, it's the same situation where it's like I was seeing all these positive things online. Like I was reading it too. I'm a little bit behind on it, but I was reading it as well. Like people were like, God, who knew a golf manga could be so good? Like the production is good, or I shouldn't say the production, but like the quality of it was so good. The story was just kicking up and getting exciting. Like it felt like it was on this just upward trajectory towards being like a really solid series on the Shonen Jump app. And then yeah, out of the blue, it's just nope,
Bye.
cut. So
Yeah. I don't know how accurate or what these rankings are basically, but looking at Jajankin.net, it's basically just weekly Shonen Jump rankings. Greens has been at the bottom for quite a while.
yeah,
And I think that more so has to do with the Japanese audience, and they base everything off of the Japanese audience. We are an afterthought. The only thing that we can tangibly see on our end for domestic wise is how it's doing on Manga Plus. How many people are actually reading it? Because on the front page, you'll see the title, the chapter, and then an eyeball with a number next to it, and that's how many times it's been read. And if you compare Greens to something like News Exorcist or Dear Anemone, you know what I'm trying to say, right? No? Maybe?
Finding Nemo, an
No,
enemy.
essentially, yeah, anemone. It's Anemone.
Yeah, anemone.
Anemone. Oh, Jesus fuck. Yeah, like you can compare like where it is rankings wise via the views on that, but even then, like Greens, it was near the bottom, but it was like still above some of these other series. Let alone some of the newer series that are out, like Psych House and Astro Royale.
Yeah,
Like those are way towards the bottom.
yeah.
But
And
yeah,
those are just coming out too. But yeah, I mean,
it is interesting to see. You know, I wonder with how to tie it all back with the clauses of saying you can't create continue your manga or your series on another app or online, etc., anywhere else, what have you. It is interesting to see if that's something similar to what Shonen Jump has, because there are series that Shonen Jump has axed really early on that are just like getting into the swing of things that were fantastic.
yeah,
That just needed just maybe a handful of more chapters to breathe before it really turned into something special.
yeah. Well, and we talked again. We talked about it before, but it's so hard, given that we are the third biggest market for manga in the world, next to France and then obviously Japan. But again, everything is coming out of Japan, right? So like the Japanese market dictates what goes on in terms of what gets serialized, what gets adapted to anime, what gets canned as well, right? So like us loving Ginka and Gluna, the Guild of the Red Hood, Greens, and many other series that inevitably get the axe. It's because of the fact that it's all driven in Japan. Like,
Yeah.
and again, I think bigger picture, long term, right? The Viz Originals One-Shot program, I think, is trying to address that, and that like, hey, we understand that you like here in North America like certain series, and they just get out like completely obliterated for no reason, right? We get that. We're trying to make original English series that originate from the North American market, the English native
The
market.
Western market,
Yeah. So that way, like, you have a base ground for like knowing, okay, these series are staying here. These series are driven by this market. It's not a system run, where, on the other side of the world, basically, that you're just kind of secondhand getting, right? And I mean, it's great. Like that should be the case. But it also goes back to the whole thing too of like, how much of a voice do English readers have? And it sounds like, and it seems like, being that we're both avid readers of many different series, we don't really have much of a voice.
No.
Right. But again, these are what those programs are. But the problem was that Tokyopop did not set it up well. And we'll going
Tokyopop
further into
was
it.
very, very predatory.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Another piece to it is we have on the screen right now. This one's not as egregious, I would say, but it's still a little sleazy. They do make mention in their pact that from time to time, based on what platform they're on and the space they have available, they might have to leave out the credit of the creator of the manga pilot. Just because, again, they, if it's on like a mobile phone or something, it might be hard to. We have restricted space, and you have limitations. Sometimes we got to leave you out. And they end that paragraph by saying, "You're okay with this?" Not a question mark, just statement. You're all right with this.
Bold move, Con.
Yeah. It was just the whole thing was very weird. The article goes on to say that basically Tokyopop had a huge partnership with Borders and Walden Book Chains, which filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2011. That had a huge hindrance on their domestic market. Obviously, with Tokyopop having many of their series in Barnes and Noble stores and Walden bookstores, around the United States, like that was massive for them. What's up?
I forgot that Borders was a bookstore.
Yeah.
I forgot Borders was even a thing until you just said it. I think you said it before we started talking, and it didn't register.
Yeah, I remember Borders
Just
when I was.
now, it just it just registered.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's right. It was Barnes and Noble and Borders that really shut down mom and pop bookshops and then just like got fucked themselves.
Yeah, and then Borders and Walden Books filed, and then basically all that's left is really Barnes and Noble. I mean, there's certainly like other stores that have actually like more even manga. There's like
BAM.
You have BAM. You have Books a Million. You have Second and Charles, which has a good library of new and used.
Yeah, but that's also I will say Second and Charles is a very smaller chain compared to the other two.
Yeah, absolutely. But
yeah.
less stores selling physical anything, physical literature. So that was a huge impact on Tokyopop, which obviously led to some issues with their OEL, their English manga program, whatever the L stands for. And then
probably original.
Yeah. L stands for original.
Oh, I thought you said whatever the O stands for. Original English literature.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Sure.
Original English L'Oreal. But then the rest of the article goes into talking about like different creators of the program just having their own stories about how like the series called East Coast Rising was canceled with little to no promotion, and they felt like they were more excited when their book garnered attention from animation and video game companies than when it got the Eisner nomination. And again, just kind of the priorities of Tokyopop being that, like, once they could start doing anything beyond the serialization or the publication of the manga pilot, that's when all your rights were taken away and they could earn those nice profits. So it was
money, please.
It's a real shame given that Tokyopop had such a huge, like they were like a huge.
They had
publisher.
A stranglehold on the manga market in the United States.
Oh yeah, by a wide margin.
It's like they have a teeny tiny stranglehold, and it's usually whenever I see a Tokyopop spine, it's usually a BL of some sort.
I can't believe you just said that because I'm looking over. My wife has some manga out.
Oh, it's all BL, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it's a series published by Tokyopop. called On or Off, and
Mm-hmm.
it's full color, I believe. If it's the
Fantastic.
series that I remember, she was reading it on a plane, and I told her probably shouldn't read this on a plane because I looked over and it was just large peen.
Dicks.
Basically, yeah, like the whole she just was going through pages, and I'm just like, good God, it's like watching
It's like Cockfight Island all over again.
yeah, basically. It's
Yeah, but no. Anytime I see Tokyopop, it's usually BL. So like they're very niche now.
yeah,
They've got that in a stranglehold.
their market has collapsed dramatically over the last 10 years, I would say, since the big Chapter 11 filing with Borders and Walden Books and their massive investment basically with the two of them. So yeah, I mean, there's the good and the bad, right? We have the new program with Viz, but obviously the worry.
I don't know. Did you take a look at the legal tidbits of it or no?
No, I haven't gone deep into the legal tidbits, unfortunately. They don't really have a lot of information out yet, right? They've really just kind of said, hey, this is something that we're trying. This is something that we're working on. And they put the big name on it, right? They plastered Hisashi Sasaki, former editor-in-chief of Shonen Weekly Jump, right? Huge name in the manga industry to basically be the face of this, to which me says, all right, we're putting a lot of faith in this new program, right? And this gentleman, I would assume, would not want his image and likeness used on something that they feel won't succeed.
Right.
So you have to hope that they've done the math, they've conducted all the research they need to do to determine what the best approach is for this type of program, taking into consideration all the other ones that in the past have either failed or, are still doing well, like the Suisha one. But again, the focus is the world market, right? The focus is creators outside of Japan, getting them in the spotlight and seeing how far they can go. It is not this golden ticket. Like, it's not a trip to Willy Wonka factory to get the new, be a part of the new candy conglomerate. Okay. Like, you're not scoring a fortune by getting a part of this program. It is an entry point into the manga industry, internationally. The question
thing that you said, Charlie or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the only thing that came through my mind was Gene Wilder's fucking monologue about Charlie losing.
You get nothing.
Nothing. You lose.
Yeah, that was
good day, sir.
that was Tokyopop.
That's the only thing that ran through my brain. My ADHD fucking noggin is killing me right now.
Yeah, that was Tokyopop back when their program failed, and all the creators are like, "Well, what do we get? You get nothing. Good day."
Yeah, so I've been trying to dig in to find the legal tidbits of this process, and the farthest I've gotten is to the submission guidelines, and then there's a link to the submissions portal, and it just hops straight into the submission with no, like, I'm sure once you get to the end of it, it'll be like, okay, here are your rights, whatever, but it's...
That's kind of the worry, right? Because Tokyopop's packs were only offered to creators once they passed a certain point in the submission competition. So
here's your legal agreement.
right.
I clicked one button and it said, "Are you over the age of 18?" and then it says legal agreement. I represent and warrant to Viz Media that my submission is an original creation of mine, and if any other person is responsible for...
Oh, people are going to love this part of the episode. Yep, keep going.
Understand that Viz Media is not obligated to retain a copy of the submission. I will not hold Viz Media reliable for loss or damage of the submission. Yeah. Understand Viz Media receives many submissions and cannot respond to every submission. If Viz Media does not respond to the submission within 60 days, that means the submission was not accepted. I understand that I'm free to provide any other publishers with my submission during the same time that Viz Media is reviewing my submission, which is good.
That's good. That's good. So they're basically, so they're not taking away your right. You can submit it knowing fully well that you're okay to continue to spread it out.
you could put this here at Viz, and you could also theoretically submit it to Manga Plus, which is Shueisha, which is one and
Yeah.
the same company essentially.
Yep.
And then there's one last paragraph, which is a lot longer than the others. I understand that my submission and the submission process will be governed by the laws of the state of California and the United States, and I agree that any dispute between me and Viz regarding the submission will be
Just about
resolved through
venue.
good faith discussion.
Yeah, it's just,
Yada, yada,
it's just
yada.
venue.
Yeah, so it's basically, that's all that is.
I'm assuming because the Viz Media America location is probably based in California, but
Yeah, it says arbitration in San Francisco. So
it's specifically San Francisco.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure Crunchyroll is based in San Francisco. Like Funimation was in Dallas or Grapevine, Texas, and then I believe Crunchyroll is in San Francisco or the Bay Area somewhere.
Oh, interesting. I thought they were still in Texas for some reason.
No, that was Funimation.
Well, right. Funimation acquired Crunchyroll.
Right, but they just left Crunchyroll to their own devices. Wherever.
Yeah.
Because
But-
to be fair, it's probably a much bigger company than Funimation was. So
Probably. But yeah, it sounds like they are.
less predatory.
Yeah, it sounds like to me this is a competition at heart, right? Like this is the purpose of the program, unlike how Tokyopop sort of portrayed it to people or presented it to people. The purpose of the Viz Originals One-Shot is just that. It is a competition. It's like, hey, submit it, see how it goes. Like, we're not going to promise you anything, right? This is just exposure. Think of it as a way to get it out to viewers through a big name, right?
Yeah.
Big name like Viz. That's really all we're saying here, right?
Although
and they even mentioned like, hey, if we don't respond in 60 days, just know it didn't get accepted. But you're good to go elsewhere, figure it out. Yeah.
We didn't talk about. We alluded to it at the beginning of the episode, or I alluded to it at the beginning of the episode, and we never talked about it. In which, it's the name and the title of this program is the Viz One Shot, yada yada, whatever. However, however, you can submit series. They do allow. There is a separate section. It's like the very first question for me to even get to the legal was: is this a one shot or is this a series? And they have many of the same different requirements, they have many of the same requirements for submission. However, if you're doing a series, you have to submit certain things to their guidelines, and if you're doing a one shot, it's different requirements. But they share some of the same, but then they have their own each individual others.
Yeah.
So theoretically, I'm wondering if they're going to gear this more towards one shot, but in that 1 in a million chance you get another One Piece kind of just floated your way in the submissions for series, maybe they hit that up too. But yeah. I wonder if this will just mainly be one shots.
Yeah, I mean, my real hope is that this will spark the evolution of original English series. That this will kind of be the starting point, so to speak, of the market growing and expanding into the Western portion of the world and allowing it to almost act like a secondary market more than like just an aftermarket, right?
Yeah.
Because we are in the current state of things, the United States, Canada, Mexico, like the Western world is an aftermarket for manga. Like to put it very plainly, and it's kind of a crude way of describing it, I guess, but like we're getting the hand-me-downs from Japan.
Yep. Or we're getting what's spoon-fed to us from Japan.
Yeah, basically. Because, there are... I rambled about it again in a previous episode, but like we don't have every single series that's out. Like there 95%, I think it's some astronomical percent of series that are actually created in Japan actually, get an adaptation into English, right? Get the English translation and are published in English and shipped to stores in the Western portion of the world, right? Like we are getting a fraction of what is out there. And again, we have little to no say in what we're reading and what stays, what goes, what gets turned into an anime. Like that is all really realistically driven by the Japanese market. And so to have something like this from Viz, a major publisher of manga, is a huge spark to creating and growing the English market for manga, to where, fingers crossed, I don't know how many years down the road this will take. Obviously, it might be 5, it might be 25, who knows? But the hope is that this will eventually turn into a larger creation, and that we'll have like a more structured English market for manga that are, English created and then translated to Japanese if they want it, right?
That would be wild.
Right. It would be. We could also spark the adaptation of more, of series that originated in English too, right? I mean, you have Crunchyroll that has a domestic location on top of the international one in Japan, right? Like you have the capability and the arms, so to speak, to reach out and make those connections. If they can originate like in North America, like they can come domestically now. So I think that's the ultimate goal. That's kind of where everything is headed, at least in my mind, how I would envision it. So again, the hope is that that's what the approach is with Viz, is that this is just kind of a testing ground. This is just a starter. We're working with very limited structure and base to go off of. We're kind of building those blocks right now. We're building the foundation to continue going up. So we're going to see what happens. The foundation could crumble, right? This could be just a disaster, but it also could spark one of the greatest developments in the manga industry over the last, some odd years. I guess only time will tell. But what time has told is that our time is up with this episode, and we can't thank you enough. That was a pretty good transition, right?
Yeah.
We can't thank you enough for listening and watching. If you enjoy what you listened and watched, be sure to like and follow all the socials. You can find those at our Twitter account, because I refuse to call it X, at the link tree that's provided. It has links.
So edgy. Oh
I know.
my God.
I'm just such a rebel. It has our link tree has our links to all of our socials, Instagram, YouTube, the Tic Tacs, as well as our Discord, where you can also chat with us there and join the Discord community that is growing ever so slowly, but
Ever so
still,
slow.
it's a lot of fun.
Not just Stead and Sam. There are others.
Yeah, there's others.
You can contribute. Don't be shy.
Yeah. If you want to go old school and reach out to us, you can always reach out to us at our email at bakacopodcast@gmail.com. All of our handles
will appear on my phone, and I'll wait until Tyler tells me what the heck is going on.
Yeah, or he'll yell at me and be like, "Why do I keep getting the same email from the stupid company that we looked into
Dude,
once?"
we unsubscribed from the fucking sticker
all
company.
right, yeah.
emails.
Just calm down, Grandpa. Jesus.
Get off my lawn.
All of our socials are Baka&Co Podcast as well. You can find us there. If you have suggestions for podcast episodes, or going to throw this out there, because we met a lot of amazing people at MomoCon recently. If you ever want to be on the podcast, if you have some interesting ideas to share, or just want to be goofy with us, let us know. Reach out to us. We're always open to new ideas, and every episode is ever changing and ever developing.
I will need guests whenever you go out of town.
And I'll be out of town, actually, funny enough, in Japan in about a couple weeks. So yeah, reach out to Frank directly. Email him directly, call him directly.
No, go to Tyler, and then Tyler will come to me.
Yeah, that's true. email the Baka&Co Podcast Gmail and title it Frank, but AKA Tyler, to Baka&Co Podcast. And yell at us there. Yeah. But thank you again. Stay safe out there, everyone. We love you all, and we'll see you next time. Take care.